On Friday night, our parish celebrated our patronal feast day with the Mass for the Solemnity of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. And that feast invites us to meditate on the great love reflected in the pierced heart of Jesus, who condescended in his incarnation to become like us and to die for us while we were still yet sinners, while we were still yet enemies, as we just heard in the second reading, but to become like us and die for us that we may live. Indeed, this Co-Cathedral church is dedicated to the Sacred Heart of Jesus, so that not only the structure, but the temple built of living stones, this community gathered within, might be a living embodiment of the passionate love of the Sacred Heart of Jesus for all people. The Co-Cathedral stands in the heart of downtown Houston, the fourth largest city in the nation and its most diverse, as a monument to the beating heart of the Catholic faith in this dynamic Archdiocese of Galveston-Houston and its nearly 2 million Catholics. The story of this cathedral church started a little over 20 years ago, when then Bishop Joseph A. Fiorenza recognized that almost from the day that Sacred Heart Church was elevated to a co-cathedral in 1959, it had been too small. Frequently, major diocesan celebrations had to be celebrated in other larger churches around the diocese. So with the help of the entire now archdiocesan community, Archbishop Fiorenza's vision came to be a reality when this co-cathedral was dedicated on April 2nd of 2008, now 15 years ago, as hard as that is to believe. What many people do not know is that Archbishop Fiorenza's master plan actually went much further. In his plans for the new co-cathedral, Fiorenza envisioned a cathedral green where the old co-cathedral stood. This was supposed to be a space for gathering and for natural beauty immediately across the street. Due to Hurricane Ike and other disasters that followed, priorities were shifted and efforts were diverted to aid in alleviating suffering caused by the destruction. Thus, the cathedral green and several other components of Archbishop Fiorenza's plan were unable to come to fruition. That changes now. In March, our parish announced the plans for the demolition of the old Sacred Heart Church and the construction of the Archbishop Joseph A. Fiorenza Plaza. Since then, the old church, rectory, and school have been brought down to begin the redevelopment in the spirit of that original vision. As I shared previously, the plaza itself will be a 6,000 square foot space where events and gatherings can occur, and the remainder of the lot will be developed into 144 parking spaces, more than tripling the amount of parking available directly across the street. All of the new development will be constructed with the idea of preserving and enshrining the legacy of Archbishop Fiorenza and our parish's past, while looking towards the future. But Archbishop Fiorenza's vision did not stop there, and so neither can we. The late Archbishop, who passed this fall, once said, "We haven't completed the walk yet. The journey is still going on. We can't stop now. We have to keep going." Therefore, I'm pleased this weekend to officially announce the comprehensive Completing the Walk campaign for the Co-Cathedral of the Sacred Heart, which will allow us to better serve our parish community and the thousands who visit our Co-Cathedral every single year. The $9.8 million Completing the Walk campaign will include much-needed upgrades and efficiencies to the Co-Cathedral itself, and will renovate portions of the Cathedral Center to become even more effective in ministering to those who benefit from the work of our parish. It will also address the growing financial burdens on the parish. While the Co-Cathedral was built by the larger archdiocesan community, its upkeep and operations have been left to the 792 families of the Co-Cathedral parish. And this model is unsustainable, as savings have nearly been exhausted after running at a significant deficit for so many years. We need to address the financial health of the Co-Cathedral as a parish, and this requires not only the devoted stewardship of the members of this parish, but also a larger effort from the entire archdiocesan community that benefits from the work of this parish. The improvements and investments made through the Completing the Walk campaign will allow the Co-Cathedral of the Sacred Heart to continue to be a warm, safe, and hospitable center of our faith that espouses the virtues of faith, service, education, and love of neighbor as exemplified in our parish paradigm. A parish that helps people to live well-rounded Catholic lives where they can worship, belong, grow, give, and go forth. So let's take a look at the four particular case elements of this campaign. The Archbishop Joseph A. Fiorenza Plaza, improvements to the Co-Cathedral, improvements to the Cathedral Center, and the creation of an endowment for the preservation of Sacred Heart. Let me ask for a simple show of hands. Who here has had issues hearing in the Co-Cathedral due to sound issues in the past? Okay, I'm cheating by lowering my voice right now, but who here has had trouble finding a parking spot for Mass? For this day and this day only, I'll let you even claim that that's the reason you're ever late to Mass. No one would ever be late to Mass if there was more parking. Well, a significant portion of the Completing the Walk campaign is the substantial upgrades, efficiencies, and developments that need to be done here. First of all, as already announced, the Archbishop Joseph A. Fiorenza Plaza will not only create a place for the community to gather, but will triple the parking across the street. The planned space will be completely landscaped, fenced, and gated in a manner that we hope will provide for increased security and peace of mind, that people coming to the cathedral can park across the street and feel safe in crossing over and visiting. For the cathedral building itself, we'll be replacing the sound system while upgrading lighting to LED fixtures to both save on costs and to better light the treasure that is this house of worship. These lighting improvements will occur on the interior and exterior of the church. We also need to replace the doors of the cathedral to ensure that it can be easily accessible and secure. Some of you may remember the fun that we had on Christmas Eve when our bathrooms weren't functioning. That problem was actually not with our facilities, but with reduced city water pressure, a problem that's actually happened many other times on holidays and weekends, just never on Christmas itself. Fortunately, there is a solution to prevent future occurrences, as we will add water pumps to help maintain water and plumbing functionality even when the city does system maintenance. Additionally, we need to do work on the roof, clean the exterior limestone, and add handicap and reserved parking in the U-Drive off of the Fannin Street side of the building. The campaign also involves improvements to the Cathedral Center. The center, the former Federal Reserve building, was acquired and retrofitted 15 years ago to meet the needs of the Co-Cathedral parish community, but it does so much else beyond that. The Cathedral Center serves as a gathering place for the entire archdiocesan community, hosting receptions and events for so many groups. This part of the campaign will provide upgrades to audio, video, and lighting for Cameron Hall, the large space on the 4th floor, as well as fund physical repairs to the flooring, window, and fixtures, creating a state-of-the-art event space that will further the mission of the church in downtown Houston. The patio space will also be repaired, upgraded, and renovated to create a beautiful outdoor overlook for the Co-Cathedral for evening events. Furthermore, the campaign will allow for the demolition of the metal storage building behind the center so that we can expand and repave parking by the Cathedral Center. The last element of the campaign is the least flashy, but perhaps the most important. This is the creation of an endowment for the preservation of Sacred Heart. Archbishop Fiorenza had initially planned for an endowment when the Co-Cathedral was built, but as previously noted, fundraising efforts were diverted to meet emergency demands following Hurricane Ike and subsequent natural disasters that seem to keep coming. Without the aid of an endowment, the maintenance and operation of the Co-Cathedral has fallen to this parish community to fund for 15 years. This has led to increasing deficits and ever-accelerating depletion of savings despite best efforts to manage our resources. Now the parish has nearly depleted its savings, and the creation of a $5 million endowment allows for a change of direction to get the parish back to financial health through a renewable income stream while ensuring the long-term vitality and vibrancy of the Co-Cathedral as a representation of the love of Christ in downtown Houston. Furthermore, every dollar raised over the $9.8 million campaign goal will be further added to the endowment to support the vibrant faith community and this place for future generations. We all need to do our part to make this a reality. There are real, tangible benefits and effects to the Completing the Walk campaign, effects that we can't ignore, and will contribute immensely to the capacity of our community to continue to be a welcoming and safe place to receive all who come to our doors. But there are also so many less tangible but more important effects. At the end of the day, it's always about the salvation of souls. We want to ensure that our cathedral parish maintains its place as a vibrant and prominent representation of the love of God in our midst. The $9.8 million goal is ambitious, but clearly achievable with our parish efforts and the efforts of the wider archdiocesan community who contributed so much to make the building of this cathedral possible in the first place. As the gospel tells us today, without cost you have received, without cost you are to give. We have been blessed with so much and are asked to respond once again in gratitude and generosity. The Completing the Walk campaign will be conducted throughout the remainder of this year with a 3-year redemption window. Most of you should have received a campaign mailer by now, or many of you will in the next few days. Information can also be found on the Mass handouts today from our ushers, as well as on paperwork in the narthex racks. Both one-time gifts as well as pledges and recurring gifts can be made through the campaign forms or on the special campaign website at completingthewalk.org. Many have also asked about opportunities to acquire a brick from the demolished church that's giving way to create this space. While we're still determining the total number of intact bricks that can be salvaged from the demolition, every person who donates $250 or more to the campaign will be eligible to receive a brick from the old church while supplies last. Those who are interested in unique naming opportunities of name gifts are welcome to speak with me or with the parish staff. Electronic inquiries can be directed to a new email address, campaign@sacredhearthouston.org, and you're also welcome to speak to members of our campaign committee, co-chaired by Suzanne O'Neill and Nick Sawicki. Furthermore, you're invited to check out the campaign video, which is now published online and through our social media channels. In it, you can hear not only from me, but from Cardinal DiNardo and other faces from our community as we take these steps toward the future together. Please share the video and the word of this project with others you know so that more can be included in our efforts to complete the walk. Finally, I ask you to please pray over the decision about how you can best support this campaign to help our parish, where the Eucharist is shared with the people of God, the sacraments celebrated, new priests and deacons ordained, Holy Chrism prepared, where the poor are served, the young are educated, the lonely find a friend, where the beauty of God's creation is recognized and our eyes lifted heavenwards. This is what we are supporting. My brothers and sisters, the invitation is clear. We have an ambitious task in front of us, and to again quote Archbishop Fiorenza, we haven't completed the walk yet. The journey is still going on. We can't stop now. We have to keep going. Therefore, I invite you to join me in completing the walk as we take the next steps towards a bright future in the love of Christ. O Sacred Heart of Jesus, we place all our trust in you. Amen.